there we go. Which change would save more fuel? Replacing a compact car that gets 34 miles per gallon with a hybrid that gets 54 miles per gallon. Okay? You can't just look at the difference in the miles. Okay? The suggestion was, if you're stuck, figure out how many gallons it takes for each vehicle to go 100 miles. Okay? So let's start with that. Let's start with 100 miles. Okay? I'm going to put that over 1. And the compact car gets 34 miles per gallon. That is your equivalent conversion. Okay? So since I have miles on top, I'm going to put miles here, my 34 miles, on the bottom. 34 miles per 1 gallon. Okay? So my miles are going to cancel out, and I get 100 divided by 34, and that is gallons. So calculators, 100 divided by 34, 2.94 gallons. So to go 100 miles in the little compact car, it's going to take us 2.94 gallons. Does everybody understand how I got that? All right, so let's take a look at the hybrid. We know it's going to get better gas mileage, but start again. 100 miles, because you have to find an equivalent measure between all of them, which is the 100 miles. That's the great uniter in this problem. So 100 miles over 1 times a hybrid gets 54 miles. Put the 54 below. And it takes 1 gallon of gasoline. So that's 100 divided by 54. My miles are going to simplify out. And 100 divided by 54 is 1.85 gallons of gasoline. For what distance again? 100 miles. So how much better did the hybrid do than the compact car? How would I figure that out? Subtract. Yes, you would subtract. You're going to take 2.94 minus 1.85, and you're going to get 1.09 gallons of gas. So that's how much better the hybrid was over 100 miles than the compact car. Does that make sense? Okay, Muhammad, does that make sense? All right, so now let's check on replacing this SUV that gets 18 miles per gallon. By now, you probably see, oh, I'm going to take 100 miles and divide it by the number of miles per gallon, which is 18 miles per gallon. And that's going to give me, who's got that number? 5.56 gallons of gasoline. So the SUV, that's a real gas guzzler. Okay? You probably already knew that, but you just didn't know by how much. We're going to replace that one with a sedan that gets 28 miles per gallon. So 100 miles, that's what I have to take for all of these, the great uniter, divided by 28 miles per gallon gives me somebody. 3.56? Is that what you said? 3.57 gallons of gas. So subtract 5.56 minus 3.57, and you get what? 1.99. So the difference is a savings of 1.99 gallons of gas for those 100 miles. And this one was a savings of 1.09 gallons of gas over 100 miles. So which one is better, or are they the same? Which one is better, Levi? Which one saved us more gasoline? A, replacing that with a hybrid, the compact car with a hybrid, saved us 1.09 gallons. Or would B, where I replaced the SUV with a sedan? Definitely B, because here we saved 1.99 gallons. So the correct answer here is B. Okay? It's B. That is the better one. Anybody happen to have B? Okay. All right. Any questions about this problem? The reason you had to have was something that could unite all of these numbers together. That was the 100 miles, because you have to start with an equivalent length. Okay? All right. So take out your rulers. Let's talk about these rulers and turn to page 122. This is probably all you ever wanted to know about a ruler and much more. Much more. Okay? So this is a part of a ruler. How many inches are there in a ruler? 12 inches. This is only marking 1 inch. Okay? Do you know how many sections this is divided into? 16. Yes. So from here to here, there are 16 different sections. Okay? And what they mean is from like 0 to this first number, that is 1/16 of an inch. The next one over would be 2/16 of an inch, etc., etc. 3/16 and 4/16. Okay? We could do that all the way across till we got to the 1 inch, which is 16/16 of an inch, which is 1 whole inch. So besides having these 16 sections, if we put 2 of them together like this and mark every other one, that is another fractional part of this inch. So 1/16 plus 1/16, what does that together make up? Each of these is an 1/8. Yes. So when you put these two together, they make up 1/8 of an inch. And so you can count over 2/8, 3/8. Okay? And then if I put 2 of those together, like this, I should have done a different color. If you put 2/8 together, that gives you 1/4. And this is 1/4. Added together would be 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. And then finally, you can also do 1/2 inches, right? So if I went from here to here, this is a 1/2 inch, and this is another 1/2 inch. Okay? So what you want to do, you're going to be measuring some different things at the bottom of that page with a ruler. And we want you to be as accurate as you can be. Okay? So if it takes you to the smallest of these little measurements, then you are measuring to the 16th. If it takes you to every other measurement, you're measuring to an 1/8. All right? And if it takes you to the quarters, you're measuring to the quarters, and then you're measuring to the halves. Okay? How many of you already know you're pretty good when it comes to measuring? Nobody? Okay. Well, so let's see. And there's nothing up here. So let's just say, I'm going to remove all these. I want you to look up here for just a second. So if I took this ruler and I had something that went to this distance right here. Okay? We should make that a little wider. This distance right here. I know, right? So as you look at this, it's over half, right? And then half, if you do the 16th, you can say that is 8/16. So when you're over half, you could say this would be 9/16. This would be 10/16. And so to this point right here would be 11/16. Can I simplify either of those numbers at all? No. So that would be a measurement of 11/16 of an inch. Okay? Let's say I do for a second one something that has, let's say this length right here. Okay? If you want, you can count each 16th of an inch. Here's halfway. And that might be the easiest way to do it for some of you. So there's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This would be 14/16. But you can simplify that by dividing by 2/2 and get 7/8. So that is 7/8 of an inch. Okay? So I want you to go ahead and measure. Measure finding the inches first as a fraction. And then it says to change those fractions into decimals. How would I change 11/16 into a decimal? How do I change that to a decimal? Donovan. How would I change 11/16 to a decimal? Look up here. How would I change this number to a decimal? Do you know? Yeah. So take your calculator and say 11 divided by 16, and that's going to give you your decimal. Okay? So go ahead, try to measure these to the nearest 16th of an inch. Okay? It is not 10. You're not going to say something like 7.8. You're not going to do that because there aren't 10 things here. Maybe you're going to say 7 8/16. All right? But it's not a decimal because there's not 10, there's 16. Okay? All right, so measure those out. Let's check with a neighbor after you've got them done. And if you need some help, raise your hand. I'm going to be coming around. Okay?